Stanley Kubrick, Lolita. Okay, maybe some people out there aren't familiar with Lolita. They prefer more of Kubrick's other films, like 2001: A Space Odyssey or Full Metal Jacket or The Shining. But Lolita, despite not being one of Stanley Kubrick's hottest films, I would consider this to be one of his very best. Yeah, I like this movie more than most of his films. Kubrick doesn't have a really big filmography, but whatever. When you look at the things that he's done, Lolita, maybe it's just me when I say that this is one of his very best. I really do think so. It has a pretty shocking subject matter to it. It deals with this college professor who's played brilliantly by James Mason. This is my favorite James Mason performance he's ever done. He's just friggin' brilliant in this. He plays this college professor, and he becomes infatuated with this teenage girl whose name's Lolita. So he ends up marrying Lolita's mother, who's played by Shelley Winters, and the whole reason he marries her, get close to Lolita. So yeah, it's perversion. It's I you can't really talk a whole lot about this movie without mentioning the heavily taboo subject matter. But Stanley Kubrick is able to adapt this, because it's based on a book, right? He's able to adapt this book into something that's so it's too well made to really to diss, really. And eventually, it ends up happening where, like, you wonder, does he really love her like he did at the beginning, or does he really think of her more as like a daughter near the end? Whatever. This movie is so brilliant. The acting by all is great, but it's ultimately James Mason that I thought gave the performance, other than Lawrence of Arabia, the performance of 1962. There was Lawrence of Arabia. There was Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. There was To Kill a Mockingbird. And there was The Miracle Worker. James Mason, he's like top 2 or top 3. He's so good in this. But I would say the best part about Lolita is, aside from the acting, aside from the characterizations, it's that Stanley Kubrick does an insane job of really pulling the viewer right into the story and not ever letting us leave. Watching this, I found myself so drawn in abnormally. When I say abnormally, I mean, like, of course, when you watch a film, like some really, really good ones, you watch it and you forget that you're you're just drawn in so deep, you forget that you're sitting in a seat and watching something. Well, in the case of Lolita, it's like that, but even stronger. Because you're drawn in so deep, you forget. Not only do you forget that you're sitting in the seats, by the time the movie finishes, it still feels like you're in this black and white world. It still feels like you've been with James Mason and Sue Lyon the entire time, and that's like way after the movie finishes. While the movie is happening, even if you have like a drink right beside you and you go take a swig of something, you'll look right beside you, you'll look at a drink, you'll still see black and white. That's how immersive this movie is. Wow, this is one of the most immersive movies that I've actually ever seen in my entire life, actually. Because like Stanley Kubrick, he pulls you in by the collar, grabs you by the collar, pulls you in so deep that it's just crazy. And I'll give Lolita from 1962 4 stars out of 4. So please subscribe.